I love Minecraft, and today I created a new world, so I decided what better to do than read some Reddit stories while playing. So, let's get right into it. If you guys like this video, I'll make a part 2. Story number 1. Would I be the asshole for asking my daughter's boyfriend to stop having dinner with us? My daughter, 21, has been dating this guy, 24, for 2 years, and it's fairly serious. He is from Mexico and has been in the US since he was 3 years old. He has a strange phobia of not wanting anyone to see him eat, and it's real. I've literally never seen this kid put a bite of food in his mouth, despite spending a fair amount of time around him. He is thin, but doesn't look unhealthy. The problem is, we will take them out to dinner occasionally for holidays or special occasions. He always orders a full meal, he will cut up the food, push it around on the plate, but not eat any of it. Then after the meal, he will donate his leftovers to someone else. It's even worse when I make home-cooked meals and they come to dinner. He does the same thing, takes a full plate of food, pushes it around, cuts it up, makes it look messed with, but doesn't eat any of it. Then he will scrape all the food into the trash can afterwards. I'm starting to get enraged over this. He wastes a horrendous amount of food, and I can't stand the money wasted when we buy expensive restaurant meals that go completely uneaten. It's even caused a few scenes with waiters asking him what's wrong, do they need to change his order, etc. I've talked to my daughter privately and said if he doesn't want to eat, that's fine, just tell him to stop taking plates of food and ordering in restaurants. Her response was, but in his culture, it's rude for him to not take food. I'm not asking him to do that. But I find it so rude that he is willing to keep wasting our money. Food isn't cheap. Would I be the asshole for just announcing that he is no longer invited to meals? So, my first thoughts on this is that the original poster would not be an asshole for asking this. They say, would I be the asshole for announcing that he is no longer invited to meals? In that case, yes, if you're announcing it to like everybody, but what the poster should do is talk to the daughter and get the daughter to talk to the boyfriend about it. And if the daughter won't do that, then the poster should do that because this is not something that this food is expensive, basically, and wasting it is rude, even if it's part of your culture. The reason I'm climbing this mountain right now is to see if this would be a cool spot to make a base for later in this world. Ooh, yeah. I think this would be pretty cool if they put like a house or two up here. Or maybe made like a mountain indoor house. I don't know, I'll figure something out. Alright, story number 2. Am I the asshole for stealing my friend's bird? For 5 years, I visited my client's house for non-bird related reasons and became friends with her daughter. In that time, the daughter bought her mother a parrot she couldn't take care of. I felt bad, so I took care of the bird. I gave it fresh water and food, and regularly cleaned the tiny cage. I even used my own money to thrift a bigger, although still too small, I knew nothing about birds, cage, and gifted it to my client. Then the client relocated without the bird, leaving it with her daughter. I still visited the daughter occasionally, and I noticed the bird was being neglected. Water bowl was almost always empty and full of bird poop. I changed that on the spot. The poop tray on the bottom was so full of waste it was almost covering the grate. I gently scolded my friend, and she sheepishly said she'd been busy, but would get on it right away. I considered asking her about rehoming, but I knew she never would because my friend has a pathological problem letting things go. I came back 2 months later. The daughter had asked me to swing by any time if I was in the area to cut her cat's nails, which was another thing I'd been doing for years. I went in with permission. No one was home. Things with the bird were even worse. The cage hadn't been cleaned since I'd last done it 5 months ago. All the perches had fallen. Beak was so overgrown it touched its chest, sludge water again. I impulsively snatched the bird out of the cage and took it home with me. I told my mother I had done something morally gray. She said it had been a rescue. I researched, bought it a big cage, trimmed its beak, and prepared fresh veggies daily. Coaxing it out of its shell took months, but it eventually learned it could come out of the cage and to trust us. It had the funniest little personality, regained the strength to fly, and my mom fell in love despite a previous fear of birds. The friend texted me asking about the bird. I lied and said I'd never made it to her place. She thought the cats had gotten the cage open and the bird was eaten. I've never said otherwise, and she has never seemed devastated by the loss. Legally, I'm in the wrong, of course, but am I the asshole? So, when I read the title for this one, I thought the person that originally created this post was obviously the asshole, but no, they are not, because that is animal abuse, and this is just someone that saved an animal, even if it's legally wrong. There's tons of things that are legally wrong to do that are morally correct, and this is definitely one of them. Uh, you are not the asshole. I think I see some iron up there, so I'm gonna go grab that, and then I'm gonna try to maybe terraform that little island I found earlier into making it into a base. Story numero tres. Am I the asshole for not contributing to the household chores? I graduated high school last year, 19, female, and I'm struggling to find my footing. We live in a small town where there are no job openings, and I don't have a license/permit, so I can't commute. I have little choice but to be mostly dependent on my family. They both work full time with good pay, so we're not struggling to stay afloat. In fact, they are both somewhat frivolous spenders who make a lot of online purchases that we don't have much space for. The house easily becomes overwhelmingly cluttered for me, especially the dishes. Within even a single day, they often fill one or both sides of our sink, unrinsed food and grease burnt onto multiple pans, baking trays, etc. I don't even know what's in them, since they very rarely cook for me. We have so many dishes, they don't all fit in the cabinets anymore, and for 3 people, it's unreasonable. I hardly use any of them myself, but it's currently my only responsibility to keep them clean. I'd do it in a heartbeat, of course, since I don't want to be a freeloading leech by any means, but it's a real struggle for me. It's not out of laziness. I spent a day pacing in a circle for over half an hour in front of the sink, where I couldn't force my body to do it. I understand they are exhausted, especially with the hours that they work, and caring for me isn't free. My stepfather is the one most against it. He was especially harsh on my sister before she moved out, and it even caused tons of loud arguments back then, so I know I'm on a timer. I don't even really feel like I can talk to him or work things out because frankly he terrifies me with how fast he can switch that on. I want to move out ASAP, but my plans have fallen through once already. I don't want to put strain on the relationship more than I already do, but my body just won't cooperate. I often forget or say I'll make up for it tomorrow, so I'm not the most reliable, but I want to help. Even then, it's a bottomless pit where the next day it's back to exactly how it was again. It's not even an exaggeration. I've done some friends, and they are always shocked by how the dishes spill over onto the counters. It's an obligation, and I feel guilty I can't do something as small as those dishes. So I can't just get a job, but I can't just move out either with no help. Anything important gets me dismissed or dragged out, so I've been increasingly irritated over the last few years. It's less like I have a family and more like we're just roommates whom I'm completely reliant on. I'm grateful for all they give, but I just want to have some control over my life now that I'm a legal adult. Maybe it's a childish thing to treat like the end of the world, but I just don't know anymore. Not the place to ask for dish hacks, so just tell me if I'm the asshole or not. I want to do better if I can, and I'm still trying to do them. Asshole or not, but it's been stressing me out, so I thought some feedback wouldn't hurt. So, yeah, you're the asshole. The poster says that this is currently their only responsibility to keep them clean, and they are an adult living at the house and they don't pay rent, they don't do anything like that. So this should be pretty easy to understand that this person is the asshole. Um Also, they explain how they pace around the kitchen for 30 minutes before doing the dishes. Like that's not basically it just seems like this person is begging for sympathy the whole post, like they're trying to show how bad their life is when it's really not. They say that they live in a I don't remember if they said above average household, but they basically are just trying to make it sound way worse than it is. This person's an asshole and they need to be more responsible. So for now, I'm gonna make this island around here my base, maybe that island. Um, but yeah, I think this would be a pretty cool spot. I want to get rid of all the sand though, so get some iron and make some shovels. All right, story number 4. Am I the asshole for ruining my daughter's birthday? I, 45 male, have 3 kids, 16 male, 14 male, and 12 female. This story concerns 12 female. Now, my daughter's birthday falls on New Year's, so it tends to be disregarded. Never on purpose, because it's between 2 big holidays, but we've always tried to make her feel special. My daughter is a known introvert and tends to spend a lot of her time in her room, and if we're at a family event, she just sits in a corner on her phone. She also is very unconventional in the sense that she doesn't desire a lot of the things that are typically of girls her age. Me and my wife have tried to fix this and get her to open up more, but to no avail. The issue arose because when me and my wife asked her how she wanted to spend her birthday, she said something along the lines of, alone with snacks in my room. This request wasn't outlandish for her, but spending your birthday alone doesn't seem like a good way to spend your birthday. It would also reflect poorly on us as the family likes big celebrations. So instead, we invited family over on her birthday for a birthday/New Year's celebration. It was a barbecue with a lot of snacks, a projector that my brother brought, and a rented bouncy castle. I thought she would realize that this was better and a more productive way to spend her birthday, but I was wrong. She was miserable the whole time and just sat in the corner. When everyone left, late at night she started screaming at me and my wife about how we ruined her birthday. My wife did most of the scolding and she was sent to her room. How could we ruin her birthday if her plans were just bed rotting? She was also mad because she didn't get the gift she wanted, which was hot chocolate machine. She is the only family member who drinks hot chocolate and she's not 50, so we got her something else that we thought she would appreciate more. This morning she ignored all of us, including my sons, who are on our side because they think she's being ungrateful since the party was great. I was just trying to make her birthday feel special. Am I the asshole? Holy shit, bro. Yes, you are the asshole. Oh my god. Yeah, so I've been introverted for a lot of my life, and this is like my nightmare. If my parents invited the entire family over with a bouncy castle and all that for my birthday after I said I don't want a big thing, I would resent them a lot. And this is a 12-year-old girl, so obviously her feelings would be stronger than mine would, and I think this is absurd. Also, they say that she doesn't want a lot of gifts. She's not like normal people in that sense, but she wants a hot chocolate machine, which, I mean, they don't specify what the gift they got was, but it's kind of crazy that they didn't get her that and threw a big party. Literally everything she didn't want. So, yeah, you're the asshole. So, I'm going back up right now, and I was thinking of maybe going to explore some of those mountains I saw earlier. See if I could find some more iron, because it's kind of dry down here. Okay, I'm just gonna do 1 or 2 more of these, but this one's a little different. This one's a confession. I stole a queen from my flatmate's very expensive chess set. Okay. A few years back, I had a really horrible flatmate/roommate. He was textbook painful to live with, messy, rude, passive aggressive, arrogant, and just awful to deal with. I spent lockdown living in a flat with him and 5 other people for over a month, and we all got to know each other pretty well. A while into living together, he somehow ended up getting a girlfriend. She also moved in, and he made her sleep on the floor as there wasn't enough space in his single bed. He and his girlfriend finally decided to move out for a few months after lockdown. Like a week before, he yelled at me and he accused me of trying to get into the bathroom multiple times while he was showering. I only went to use the bathroom once while he was in there, found the door locked, realized it was occupied, and then turned to go and wait in my room. But then he threw the door open and started hurling abuse in his towel. I don't really know what that means. I was still angry about that incident at the time of my theft. In the communal garage, he had a super expensive wooden chess set packed and ready to go for the move. So I took a queen. I found it both symbolic and satisfying. For those who don't play, it ruins the set. Can't play without a queen, and not really the sort of thing you can buy individually with a set like the one he had. I render this set about as useful as a jalapeno flavored lubricant. My only regret now that I'm super into chess was not just taking the whole board and making him think he got lost in the move. I don't condone stealing from people, even if they're jerks to you. And I know this isn't an am I the asshole story, but in this case, I would say everyone sucks. Like, you wouldn't be in the right from stealing from this person, but it would make you feel better. I just think this is something that could be traced back to you for stealing. And if it ever was or could get proven, you would get in trouble, which I don't know if that risk is worth it. So I'm gonna read one more story, and this one's gonna be a little bit longer, but this one is different. This is a real horror story. At least I think it is because of what the commenters are saying, but let's get into it. This happened to me long ago, but I can still recall that day clearly. It's a bit long, but I'll try to simplify as possible. When I was young, maybe 5 or 6 of age, my family moved over to Hungary from the UK due to my father's job requirements. In the early 1990s, when the dissolution of the Soviet Union had turned the Socialist Republic into liberal democracy, allowing large corporations finally to enter the country and establish a foothold in the land of opportunities. My father was from one of those companies. We bought a large mansion-like house in Budapest. The house was large with 4 rooms and a large front and backyard. I was told the house was considerably cheap compared to its large size. Our parents thought it was because the country was under communist rule that everything was so cheap. Few months had gone by and me and my sisters were getting settled in nicely. It was great having a huge backyard, and school was fun. We were sent to one of those newly established American international schools, the ones that have Christian backings. Anyways, I was not really into religion and found the teachings of the Bible boring at most, but at least the hamburgers and pizzas were cheap. More weeks went by and we were now completely at home in our new house, but then things got weird really fast. I shared a room upstairs with my sister, and we would talk ourselves to sleep every night. But one night, we were both really tired from some vigorous backyard playing, so we fell asleep almost instantly. I was woken in the middle of the night looking for a glass of water. As I awoke, I took a glimpse towards my sister's bed that was on the other side of the room. Then I saw it. In the dark room on her bed, my sister was sitting up. I couldn't see her properly, only her shadowy silhouette. Before I could say anything to her, she laid back down. But it wasn't a normal laying down. She slammed into her bed like you would when you're frustrated. Odd, I thought, but didn't give much thought to it. My need for a glass of water was a higher priority. But just before I got up in my bed, I saw her sit up again. She just sprung up. It was too weird and I froze. Then she slammed herself back down in the bed, and then sprung up again and slammed down into her bed again and again. The bed shook, making squeaky noises every time she slammed into her bed. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. I just lay still in my bed looking at my sister's shadow just sit up and lay down again. I don't know how long it had been, seemed like hours, but she stopped. She sat there very still, dark silhouette now seemed even darker and black. Then she slowly turned her head towards my bed. So I shut my eyes as hard as I could, hoping that this was all a bad dream. Moments pass, and I muster the strength to open my eyes. I looked towards to my sister's bed, and I was met with a dark, blacked out face fully turned towards me. Panic started to set in. My heart pounding mad, and I wanted to scream, but my mouth was frozen shut by fear. Cold sweat built up, and silence filled the room. Fear was so overwhelming, and I couldn't stand it. I had to do something because I thought I would suffocate at this rate. I don't know where I got the strength to do so, but I rushed out of my bed and ran towards her. I came up to my sister so fast, but the next minute I saw my sister laying down in her bed fast asleep, the dark shadow gone like mist. I frantically shook her awake. My sister woke up to my cries and shaking, confused, and was still half asleep. I told her what I saw and that we should probably make our way to our parents' room, but my sister laughed it off, saying it's not funny and she doesn't believe in supernatural stories. I had no choice but to go back to bed, as I wasn't about to let anything happen to my little sister. That night, I couldn't sleep and watched my sister all through the night. Thankfully, nothing happened through the rest of that night, but I couldn't shake off that eerie feeling that something was amiss. After that night, everything seemed out of place. The house that we were comfortable to run around in didn't look the same, as there was something about it that gave me the creeps, and soon I was nagging my parents to move out. Of course, they just shrugged it off, and I said I watched too much sci-fi and horror movies, and they were getting to my head. Days passed, and I was losing sight about the eerie feeling of the house. Life seemed to fall back into place, and I almost forgot about that incident. But they were far from over. I woke up one morning from screams by my mother, who just came out from her room that morning. She was looking at me. I was hanging from the side of the second floor staircase, upside down like a bat. As soon as I came to my senses, my legs gave way, and I would have fell head first if not for my father, who had rushed out hearing my mother's screams. My father grabbed hold of my legs just as they were giving away. I was diagnosed of somnambulism, or sleepwalking. The doctor said it was common in children and attributed them to sleeplessness and nightmares. My parents banned me from watching horror movies or any kind of contents that may fuel my nightmares. But after that day, I kept on sleepwalking and every time would wake up hanging upside down from something. My parents were highly religious and became worried about it. Talk of exorcism and demonic possession were quickly brought up, and I remember a priest visited us not long after. The priest first visited our room. He was in there for a good hour or so and cautioned us not to enter until he deemed it safe. When he came out, there was an uneasy expression on his face. He started looking around and muttering something, maybe Latin, I wasn't sure. Then he eventually made his way down the stairs again. He stopped and looked up. He was standing looking up at the ceiling with a face expression that just chilled me. Something about his expression just said supernatural. The ceiling was located right beneath where our room was. He then motioned my parents over and spoke to them for some time. My parents' faces turned white, and we all moved out and rented a hotel room the next day. The next day, my parents hired construction workers to tear down the ceiling located under our bedroom. They found a small trap door in the ceiling, and when they opened it, they found a small bag of bones from some small animal, maybe a chicken or something. But also inside the small compartment, there was a small doll made of the same bones from the bag, hanging by a small thread upside down. Needless to say, my parents sold the house and we moved out immediately. We stayed in Hungary for another year and after that returned to the UK. My parents' religious belief and faith had tripled after that. As for me, I had strayed alien to Christianity. I'm not an atheist and I still believe in God and all, but churches make me uneasy for some reason. I stopped going when I entered college and never been to one ever since. But that incident in Hungary had stopped me from not believing altogether. Something supernatural walks among us on this plane of existence, I'm sure of that. My recent encounters also has led me to believe in the supernatural, but that is for another story. So, in my opinion, I might be calling BS on this one. I'm not sure though. It's not written by AI because it was written 6 years ago, I'm pretty sure. So I couldn't tell you if this is real or not, but if it is real, that's crazy. I just reread the story and it's written, obviously you guys can't see how it's written, but it's written pretty neatly. Like it's written like someone that professionally writes stories. So I'm leaning more towards it not being real. But if you want to believe that it's real, go ahead and do that. I'm not stopping you. Thanks for watching, guys, and make sure to let me know if you want to see more of these. If I make another one, I'll just continue to play on this world, and then maybe I'll eventually beat the game, and that'd be pretty cool. So, that's about it. See ya.